Welcome to my little knife video. So this is part of, I'm going to move around a little bit for a second. Okay, so this is part of my series on simple things, because I've noticed throughout this whole COVID-19 time, I guess, I don't know what to call it, our pandemic, the kids and I call it the apocalypse. Anyway, yeah, so I've realized that there's a lot of people who don't know the simple things that I think everybody should know. I was really lucky. My parents know a lot of stuff and taught us a lot of stuff, and so I want to pass that on. I saw a post about a lady who was so excited because she made breadcrumbs, and I thought, doesn't everybody know how to make breadcrumbs? Super simple. But anyway, so I sat down, the kids and I, while my husband was at work, and we came up with a list of, 20, 25 things that we think everybody should know how to do. So we're sharing. Today is knives. I know it looks like a kind of psycho layout here, but these are the basics of what I think everybody should own. So a good serrated knife. So the serrated part is the bumpy part. That's what serrated means. So there's a couple of different kinds here. I'm not sure how well this is going to focus. Some of them are laser sharpened, some of them are not, some of them have to be resharpened. Oh, my lighting is funny. Some of them have just a plain plastic handle, some plastic with grip. Wood, you can get composite handles like this. It kind of looks like wood, but it's a little plasticky. Anyway, you can get all kinds of different handles. Like this one here is quite obviously plastic. But anyway, find what you like, find what's comfortable. Some of them will have, when the blade goes right down through, the part that's down through the handle is called the tang. So sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't. Some of them will have rivets, some of them won't. So it all depends on what you're looking for, what your price range is. This one is just totally metal. There's no plastic. It's just one piece. Anyway, so a serrated knife. This is really good for cutting bread and loaves. I also use it for chicken or turkey sometimes, or ham. So, I have one of those. Chef's knives. I think these are invaluable. Try them out. A lot of stores will have one or two or something that you can hold. If you go to like, a kitchen supply store, they'll have a few on display. This is a smaller, you can see by my hand and the size of it. This one I bought for the kids. Just because their hands are smaller and they need a smaller utensil for cutting. But I use this sometimes if I just want, a quick little chop on something. This is the typical, and it needs to be ground and sharpened in a bad way, but this is like a typical chef's knife shape. It's got the full tang and it's riveted in 3 spots. And then this and this are more of a Japanese style. But again, this has like the full tang and the rivets. I really like this one. What brand is that? Cuisine de France. This was actually a $4 knife that I got at Canadian Tire on one of their like Saturday clearance deals. And I think I used this more than the other two. This one I've had for, oh God, 20 years or more. It ended up in the dishwasher, which is why you can see those pits there. So don't put it in your dishwasher. Just hand wash your knives. And this came from Pampered Chef, and it had one of those self-sharpening dealies. This came from the Dollarama, believe it or not. Yeah, and I just liked it because it was good size for the kids. Yeah, so good for, chopping carrots and onions and all the usual things that you chop. A cleaver. I never had one of these until my husband bought me a set when we started butchering. So we've got a small farm. And we do our own chickens. We've had pigs, we have rabbits, what else? Ducks. So, you know, when we really started butchering, there was a set that he bought me. And it was this, and another, like, really big one for cutting, steaks off of a big piece of beef. So yeah, a cleaver, I mean, it's good for chopping, like you can get right through chicken bones and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of a chopper. I don't use it very much. My mom has one, or had one years ago, and she used to use it for everything. Like, I remember her lots of times slicing cabbage for stir fries and coleslaw and stuff. So yeah, so far a serrated, like for long slices of bread and stuff, a chef's knife of some kind, you know, for your regular chopping of vegetables, and a cleaver for kind of hacking through meat and stuff. Over here, so we've got a couple of steak knives. Again, some of them are serrated, some of them are not. This is just out of the drawer, you know, if we're having steak or pork chops or something, just use that to slice it up. This I kind of use the same way, or just as a utility knife. If I'm cutting up an onion or something, sometimes I'll grab this. It's just a good, feels good in my hand. It's a decent size. And I can use it for bigger or smaller things. I think this is what I use a lot for, like if I'm cutting up a chicken. I don't necessarily need one of the bigger knives, but you know, that's good for, you know, I can hold it really well. I can get in around bones and whatnot. So yeah, a steak knife or a kind of utility knife. A paring knife. This one is kind of thick. It came in a set with the utility, the steak knife, and the chef's knife. It was a set from Pampered Chef again. So you can get smaller paring knives. I do have one that I used earlier. It's a little dirty, but this is just, you can find these at the dollar store too. So, you know, you can get really close to what you're cutting, like an apple or, you know, if you're usually fruit that you're going to peel, something like that. Sorry, I'm wiping my hand here. This is also good for this next one. I like the curve of the blade, and it's really good for like slicing through meat and stuff. You don't necessarily need this if you're not going to be cutting a lot of meat or like piecing out a chicken or anything like that. But I do really like this. It just, I don't know why I like this. I just really like this knife. This and this one here. That kind of steak utility knife. Maybe it's the butcheriness in me. But yeah, it's good for, you know, if you buy a roast and you want to cut it into steaks or cube it up for a stew or something, it just slices through meat really good. This one is, if you're a fisherman or if you buy fish at the supermarket, it's a good fillet knife. This particular one came from the hunting and fishing section. My husband had this ages ago. So that's why the plastic handle. But I'll show you here. Like, it's good and flexible, so you can really kind of get under the skin of the fish. You know, it's nice and thin for when you're gutting it. I'm not a good fishmonger at all. So, you know, that's not my knife of choice, but, you know, if I'm just reaching in the drawer to grab something to, you know, slice a bag open, that's my preferred knife. I know. This one I don't use a lot. It came in the set with the other butchery stuff, like the cleaver, and this one here. I would say deer season this gets used a lot. And as I hold this, I know why I don't like it very much, because the tang and the handle are not, they're not ground down even. So you'll notice as you pick up knives what's comfortable and what's not. And maybe that's why that doesn't get used a lot. Maybe when I'm wearing a pair of gloves. But basically, the gist of it all, serrated knife, chef's knife of some kind, and a utility knife, If that's all you have in your drawer for cutting things, you're doing well. If you want to add some variety, try some different handles, maybe some different styles. See what you like for what. Okay, that's it for now.